Okay, I guess this is what we're going to be calling a real comic book podcast, guys. Um, I'm here with I'm here with Eddie, the guy, Eddie's mullet, the biggest troll on YouTube for my channel. But he's also very knowledgeable, I think, when it comes to certain things. Of course, if you don't know who I am and you just searched uh, comic book podcast, this is kind of like our first. I tried this years ago with somebody else, but he didn't have a lot of time. But we're going to kind of go over a couple just topics that I thought might be interesting. Some Eddie knows about, some he doesn't, and just kind of pick his brain on the stuff. And Eddie, what do I need to tell these people about you?
Nothing.
Okay, so that's basically Eddie, guys. Can't wait for his one-word answers on this
No. Uh,
podcast.
Let me get a
So,
few in me and we'll get going.
all right. So I don't expect this video to be super long. It's just something that you guys can chill and listen to, I guess. And we'll see how it works out. If you guys like it, maybe we'll do one every couple weeks. Eddie and I talk here and there all the time about stuff that's going on in the community. Like we'll like message each other on the phone and talk crap or whatever. Like, did you see this or whatever? So, Eddie was saying, oh, dude, there's no good comic book podcast. And I'm like, I agree. Everything sucks. So we're going to try to change that. So you can just listen or whatever. I might put some images on the video when we talk about certain things so you guys can see. But besides that, there's not going to be any real images. And again, if Eddie and I have both been in the comic book game for quite some time. I'm not sure how long Eddie's been in it, but I've been in it, on and off my whole life. Went hard for the last maybe 20 plus years in collecting, and I sold a lot in the past, and I built this channel to help you guys on kind of new stuff. I could talk about old spec all you want, but to me, it's, if you don't already know, it's too late. So that's why I kind of base it on new stuff and kind of news and stuff like that. And Eddie, you've been collecting mostly what, Spider-Man and Venom your entire life, or is there other stuff that you collect?
Yeah, Spider-Man and X-Men when I was younger, and then now there's just too much. I stopped collecting, when I found girls, like,
Same here, same here.
and then I got back into it. I saw a random picture on like I think early days of Amazon. I saw like a Venom picture. I started looking into it and bought like a trade. And then when Civil War came back around, whenever that early 2000s, and I started collecting, like going back into shops again. So ever since, what was that, 2004 or 5, somewhere back in there since then. And then, a break. Yeah, most of my life though.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I collected when I was a kid, and I, drug around 2 long boxes with me for the longest time from place to place. And I had stopped collecting and got into sports and stuff like that and girls and then, just the same thing. I walked into a comic book store maybe 15 years ago or 20 years ago and just got right back into it again and went hardcore. I did do some sports cards and stuff before then, but I think we all kind of do that as collectors, kind of jump around.
Yeah, it's funny because I wasn't collecting when I first met my wife, and then like we get married, and I was like, yeah, I started going to this comic book store. She's like, you duped me. She's like, I had no idea you were in.
It's
I was like,
funny
all
when
right.
you got to find a hobby. Once you like
Yeah, right.
serious with somebody, it's like, okay, well, what else am I going to do? But
Yeah.
so besides that, that's kind of who we are, whatever, just dudes. Um, but I wanted to bring up a couple topics. We can start with this news going on right now with DC Comics in trouble. Let me just say this before I say anything else. A lot of people are worried about the comic market and the industry, and there's a lot of channels out there that focus on everything negative coming off of social media. I could say all their names. You already know who they are, Twitter people and all that, how comics are dying and all that. I got to disagree in a couple of reasons because my Marvel orders, because I am a store, right, are gigantic. I mean, and I'm just one person. So I don't think Marvel's dying in any way. I think they're actually growing because of Disney and stuff like that. But in regard to DC Comics, yes, they have been killing themselves. In regard, the only thing that sells are Batman and cover buys. No one buys Flash, and there aren't mass orders of certain books besides Batman. Only if there's like a key or a hot cover, which is DC's does very well, is hot covers, right? They always have great covers. So I do agree that DC is burying themselves with their woke agenda and all this other shit that's going on right now. But lately, a lot of the bigger channels that feed off this type of stuff, and it doesn't help that DC people help them feed off themselves when they say stupid things. But that everyone's getting fired over there, and rumor Jim Lee's gone, and now there's this new thing that rumor that McFarlane's going to take over DC. Now, I'm going to show a picture real fast to Eddie, and I'll show it to you guys as well if you're, if you're turn it on to watch and see. Okay, so there's this thing. I think all these rumors kind of spawned from this page puncher thing that McFarlane's doing with his toy division, where it like comes with a comic of Flash and he's extended into other characters that really no one cares about anymore, at least in my world. And there's this theory, or everyone's jumping to conclusions that Todd McFarlane might, take over DC or get, Jim Lee out, McFarlane in. So I don't know if you've heard about those rumors, Eddie.
Yeah, I did. I heard him. Yeah, he's the one person that maybe could get me to check out something to purchase something DC, but I don't know.
I agree, but I think most of these page puncher books aren't even his covers. They're other artists, and he's sticking to his toy line. I think for DC, it would be a great investment to try to pull him in. But my thought is, why in the hell would he? Why would he want to?
Money.
Yeah, but he's so busy with Spawn and toys and all this other. Yes, he's going to do that crossover soon. What is it? Batman Spawn again? Revisiting that. That's cool and all. But do you really think that Todd McFarlane, with all the stuff that he does all the time, would even consider trying to fix DC Comics?
Well, I mean, if the price is right, I don't see why. Is he what all is he writing now? Is he just writing Spawn?
Yeah, that's as far as I know, Spawn. I mean, there's a couple different Spawn runs.
Does he do?
But you have to see he's constantly pushing toys, man. Like,
oh yeah,
so like, how does he break away from all that?
He's got that figured out. Because man, he started those toys late 90s, and he's got it refined. He's got those. I can't believe the rate at which they're cranking out those figures.
Yeah, they're cool.
I think he's streamlined the process, and maybe he's got either the right people that he's delegated certain things to. There's no way. I'm just wondering how much he actually has hands on.
Here's my thought on it. Like, first of all, I run this little YouTube channel. I have an online store, and I'm now publishing my own comic, right? I don't even have time to breathe. And to think that he, who's hands-on all Image, well, maybe not all of Image, but part owner or whatever, the whole Spawn thing where they're pushing out books nonstop, the toy division, why he would even think about getting involved in a high level position at DC to try to save them when it's apparent they're destroying themselves within. Why he would even do that, I just personally think he wouldn't. Even if it was all the money in the world, I don't think he has enough time.
Yeah, it's going to be. Oh well, maybe he'll end up being like the editor in chief. And if you get the right people in place, I mean, it's not going to be much different than him just throwing more titles underneath the Image brand. It'll be. I'm certain that it's going to be a licensing deal from was that who owns it? Discovery? Is that who owns Warner Brothers Discovery? It's like a merger deal, right?
AT&T, I think, Warner Brothers. The problem is that, this whole remember the 4G or 5G thing years ago? They
Hmm.
changed it. They were, I think that DC's main problem is they're trying to appeal to the youth who don't care anymore about comics, whereas they need to start pitching it back to the adults like us who actually buy this stuff. There's no kids in there, a very small percentage of kids from, you know, 19 to maybe 25, 30-year-olds don't give a shit about comics, dude. All they care about is their phone and maybe a movie. So,
Yeah.
which is a pitch for digital, right? But
It.
and they're trying to address all the woke stuff by the problem with DC here, of course, is, and I don't want to get too far into it, is that they've changed every character sexual orientation, and then they decide, oh, let's announce Wonder Girl's actually straight. How is that an announcement? Like, I mean, you're all over the place. I just don't think personally McFarlane wants to get involved in what I would consider a clusterfuck.
So, wait, Wonder Girl came out as straight? Is that what
I mean,
happened?
yeah, apparently. Anyway, my personal view is I'm going to take this side. I don't think he would want to do this. He might dip in a little bit with his Batman Spawn and maybe, hopefully, take a chance at Batman. I think Batman's the only thing that's worth anything at DC anymore. And maybe take over the run after this next current run would be great. I think it would be great for Batman, but that's not what's really in jeopardy. Batman will always last. That's my point of view. Your point of view is?
I think if the price is right, and it really is going to depend on how Warner Brothers or AT&T or whoever Discovery owns, if they're going to parcel out just portions of their catalog, or they're going to try to dump it all on somebody. I think he'll get involved. I don't think he can help himself.
Not to keep going, but I mean, I think when he just created Image, that was part of the reason he wanted to get away from all of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's going to be in the language in these contracts because I mean the devil's in the details.
I also think if anything, he would want to come and help with Marvel, if anything. But because of Stan Lee, he thinks he's the next Stan Lee. I mean, he's the next Stan Lee.
He is. Yeah,
Jim Lee's not. McFarlane is.
He definitely is. He's the one person that people outside of comics might even say have an idea. Not the Stans, nowhere near Stans, I guess mainstream appeal, but Todd, people know of him outside of it from all the way back from when he was buying baseballs from Mark McGuire.
Buying all the home run baseballs. Remember that? He took those on tour and stuff. Okay, let's move on to my next discussion, which I think that we're going to get a lot of input from you about is Venom, number 11, the new sleeper agent cover and possible first appearance. Just a little background on this book. I just briefly looked through Venom 10. No one's had an opportunity to look through it, and I didn't even really explain it that well to you, but I'm going to spoil part of what I saw. Now, keep in mind, I haven't read it all yet, but throughout this new Venom run with Ram V, of course, and he's taking his sweet time, which is fine. I'm enjoying it. It is slow. We have all these new characters, Meredith, and he's in that symbiote place with all, Bedlam and all these different weird characters that they introduced in that little Meredith world, if you want to call it, right? The time trap world. I don't know how you would describe it.
I think it's Meridius.
All right. Well, okay. Meridius. And, we laughed off last issue with, you saw Eddie's face in Bedlam, right? Trying to kill Dylan, right? So I'm going to kind of spoil what's going on for number 10, and then we'll touch on number 11. It looks to me like they've revealed that all those new characters in that world he's with are versions of Eddie. So, you know, the weak one that got eaten up by Bedlam early in the issues? They were like introducing all the new characters, and like Bedlam grabbed them up and like ate them.
Yep.
That was like they're jumping back and forth through time in this next book. And what I'm just going to say Meredith says is basically we are all you, just different versions, like the sad one, the angry one. So even Meredith is him. So what he said is that there are 7 versions, okay? Now this is where it gets weird. The people that we've met in the new book, Bedlam and all them, there's 6 of them, which includes Meredith, right?
So is it
So
like a play in the Seven Deadly Sins or something?
they're saying there's one more, and in the end, they don't know who it is. And they're going to lead into number 11, which has Sleeper Agent on the cover. Now, this number 11 is very spec. And of course, I'm going to go big on it. I like the cover. Eddie and I are still trying to figure out who this is. My hopes are, I feel like Eddie, this is what I feel like. They have to bring Eddie Brock back to Venom, right? They have to give him Venom back. So where's Dylan going to go? And maybe finally we're going to get that merger between the Sleeper and Dylan and this new character called Sleeper Agent. I don't know. That's my thought.
That's what the fans of Venom, they want Dylan and Sleeper to be. But I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I really I don't have high hopes, and uh, it's probably just some. I don't it could be any guy from like the vault, those vault guys, or that spearhead guy. I want it to be Dylan. I just don't think it's going to be.
All those guys that you're talking about are part of the people that are in that world with him, right?
Yeah, the people that are
With him.
chasing him.
Yeah. All the different symbiotes in that little world with him, or Spearhead's different.
No. Spearhead, like the people that are chasing Dylan. That's the people I was talking about. Like
Oh, okay.
the guys that Carlton Drake has hired. Because, well, they showed in the past that Sleeper can like dominate a host. It would be nice if it was that guy too that Sleeper was bonded to, and the guy had no clue during that Extreme Carnage. There was that guy that Flash Thompson was in the military with. But yeah, I don't know. I doubt it's Dylan. I really
So
do.
what do you think though, long term in regard to spec for this character, Sleeper Agent? That
Well, these typically like monetarily, if you're looking at that, these bonding books, if the character lasts, they hold up well. It's probably a really highly ordered book, so I don't think it's going to be like as high as value as like say Toxins is because it was low ordered. But I mean, it's a safe get. I'm just gonna get one of all the covers. I might like if there's someone that shelves the next week, maybe pick up another. But I ain't going crazy on it.
so you had shown me this cover a long time ago, and I was opportunity to buy the original. So
Yeah,
I was thinking about it. They want a little too much, and of course they never answered me back. If they would have answered me back, I probably would have pulled the trigger somewhere. But
I really don't like it.
you don't like
Something
it.
I don't like it. I
I
don't
thought
know.
you liked it at first.
No, and I think we were spoiled with Stegman and with Coelho on Donkey's run. But I don't know. It's not bad. I just it
It's a
looks
definite pickup, though, right, for you?
yeah. Oh, for sure, buy it. Yeah. Definitely get it.
Well, I'm interested to see what happens. So, in trying to jump into our last topic tonight, since you mentioned Donkey, I thought I would mention uh, we would talk about Donny Cates versus Ram V. Now, okay, Ram V is currently writing Venom and Carnage. I think that actually Carnage is better right now.
It's way better.
And Donny Cates jumped from Venom and over to Thor and Hulk.
Yeah. He started his Thor run, I think, while his Venom run was finishing up, and then he did Hulk after. That's what he did. His like full time one after Venom.
So I know you've noticed we talk about this a lot, but and it's very frustrating. When Donny Cates first came onto the scene, it was exciting because he was, I thought, doing a great job. We were talking about it even then, like he was kind of stealing characters from the past and implementing them in new books, where like the idea was out there and he just kind of ripped it. And
Yeah,
we're like, okay, it's still cool. Um, and then we liked the idea of him finding characters out there that no one ever really talked about or kind of changing them. But then he started to shit on the endings of all these books. I mean, that's just all I see is horrific endings or introduction of some cool new characters. And then these endings that just, you're like, okay, you just
yeah,
destroyed the whole thing.
yeah. Like I was when his Venom run started. I mean, it was like he's great at promoting his stuff. Like it was like '90s level of hype. Like remember when like McFarlane and Liefeld, all that, like how would they call those guys back in the day? All those in Jim Lee. It felt like that because Stegman's art was like on point, and Donnie's story was interesting right off the get go. I mean, and then it just after Absolute Carnage, like issue 2, it was just downhill. There's a couple good issues here and there in moments, and then yeah, it's just it's been
Let's talk about
downhill.
like how many different codex covers. Remember, we were always trying to figure out what is this codex. We keep seeing all these different codex covers. What is this? What is this? And then we find out it's Dylan in an alternate reality, right, or universe as Codex, which was a really cool character. And I was like, oh man, this is going to skyrocket this first appearance of Dylan, right? Because he's a pretty badass character. And then he literally got his ass kicked immediately. And I remember reading it, them even kind of hinting to him being put in some sort of like a rehabilitation center or something. I can't remember exactly how they put it. And they put him to bed. Like, how do you do that? How do you just, and then, no, I mean, don't get me wrong, Eddie. Null, one of the dopest characters of all time, possibly. The guy shit on Earth, brought down celestial things, took over the Earth in like a minute, and then Silver Surfer can't even get through the barrier with the power or whatever the hell that thing was. And then all of a sudden, some dipshit from another 30 years ago comes and takes over and then implants an Eddie, and then Eddie's it's
Yeah.
over.
Oh,
It's over. How the fuck
the
is
mo
it over?
the most absurd thing about that is yeah, the Omega right force comes zipping into Earth, goes past the Silver Surfer, past Thor, and goes onto a dead Eddie Brock, and then Eddie. I'll never forget. Yeah, it's a hammer plus surfboard equals battle axe. I was like, what?
I
And
mean,
then
dude, even in Silver Surfer Black, Eddie, the Silver Surfer was able to bust out a star, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he had the power alone, and it just decided to join with a dead Eddie. I mean, and dude, like literally whipped Null's ass in like 2 pages.
Yeah, it reminded me like when Absolute Carnage with the Hulk. Like, oh wow, we got to see Venom on the Hulk, which I one of the other things that we saw before, but never in the main continuity. And then like 2 pages, he has him, and Carnage just tears him up, and you get like nothing out of it. And it was the same thing. That's like all of his stuff is like couple page resolution, bam, bam, done. Everything that has happened is wiped and doesn't matter. And
I mean,
then,
even to the point with this new, I know you don't read Hulk that much, but they introduced the Titan character. It was super hype. Titan appeared for like 1 second, dude, and then was gone. I mean, a character that could have had potential was all bullshit. And the way they ended the whole Thor Hulk battle, which was actually pretty good at first. It was actually pretty good. The way they ended it recently is horrific. Now we've got them going into a Planet Hulk world. We're going to see introductions of new characters through Kate on this new run with Hulk, right? But I can almost guarantee that it will end like shit again. I don't know what
Yeah.
else to say.
What I and then with the new Venom book, I really thought Donnie left that in a horrible place. Like Eddie is now all powerful, and the best part about him is he was relatable. He's a guy who screwed up, did wrong, trying to make amends. You know, typical character. Now he's an omnipotent god that leads aliens, and he can't even do that right off the get go. He can't even see Carnage. Um,
Well, and even then, to show how uh, his mind works, he's not really that. I can't believe I'm still shitting on him, but I mean, what did he do? He gave Dylan, which I thought was cool. He made Dylan Venom, right? In a new costume, but then he gave him a chain like
yeah,
Spawn.
yeah. That's I'll tell you why. So Donnie and Stegman created a thing. They had. I used to listen to their podcast back before I heard it enough, and they called it "Kids Love Chains." And it's some emo thing that Donnie's into, so that's why they gave Dylan chains because chains are cool. That's literally why they gave him chains. That's and then they weren't remember then they weren't drawing them with it. It's like some artists weren't drawing it, and then it was confusing. That's that's why he has chains though because they think it's cool.
Well, what I think is interesting is Immortal Hulk was such a decent run. It kind of poo-pooed out at the end, but Ram V
Yeah.
really brought back the Hulk with the Immortal Hulk run. And then
Wait,
they've done
wait,
this.
no, that was Al Ewing who was also writing this.
Yeah, they were both writing it, right?
Ram V, I didn't read Hulk, the Hulk run. Ram V was writing Hulk as well.
I thought they were both
I
reading
don't
it.
I don't think he was. I mean, I could be wrong, but I Ram V and Al Ewing are supposed to be writing this current run together.
I'm talking about Immortal Hulk.
I thought Ewing did that all on his
Oh,
own.
okay. I might be wrong. They flipped it around now though. So they basically swapped everything. So Ram V came into Venom and you could tell he immediately took over. He weakened, just like you were saying, he weakened Eddie, brought him
I
back.
you have to.
Yeah.
How can you write?
And he started a new storyline with building Dylan and Venom as a new character and going through the growing pains type of thing, right? Of do I become Venom or not? He's battling that. And it's a long, drawn out thing. And I think they're building to something great. I'm really excited. And also the Carnage run, I think, is excellent. I think that we're in store for some really good stuff with Carnage. It's building. And I mean, Carnage is like a collector right now. He's collecting like a serial killer. Basically, they work back and forth with the serial killer and him. And you don't know what's going on with the detective yet and what's he going to be. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I like that they brought Cletus Cassidy back as a codex. I'm assuming that's what he is. That's in that detective. So I thought that was actually pretty good. And you can see, I don't reading Venom into Carnage. You can tell that I don't know. Ram seems a little more. He's like has a little more freedom, more rope to go out and do all these weird things, and that he seems like he's hamstrung with either what he's left with or what Ewing is having him do in the main Venom book because yeah, I can't like I like reading Carnage and Venom. I'm almost buying to just buy. I'm still reading it, but I'm just buying it out of habit.
Yeah, I think that maybe it'll pick up. I feel like you're right, though. I think that Carnage, he has way more freedom. He's creating this new kind of story, which is really cool. And Venom, he's just slowly trying to rebuild. But with
Yeah,
Carnage, he's definitely has like this idea, something's good's coming.
Yeah, that last Carnage issue where I was like interested in a random dark elf that who was like crippled, was missing a hand, and it was interesting that he got screwed in the end, which was great too. But it wasn't. It's not even like big characters. It's been just a good story.
Yeah, well, we don't know for sure if that elf dude got. They kind of they say that the dude killed him, but
Yeah, yeah, it looked like he crucified. Yeah, I don't know.
he probably did.
If he didn't kill that guy, I'll be pretty disappointed because the dude, the artist is a freaking serial killer. Why did he feel any guilt for that dude?
Yeah, he's definitely. It's funny they're kind of both teaching each other different. Well, actually, no, Carnage is the mentor. So he's
Right.
teaching the serial killer how to be even more of a serial killer. It's kind of and collecting. I'm excited to see the next issue because I mean he's going after God stats, and I got to be honest. I hope we see somehow Ramvree bring Null back. I feel like there's something there where I mean Null can't
It
die.
could, yeah, it could be he might end up like I bet no one dies in comics except for like Uncle Ben and Gwen, kind of. Uh, yeah. So his body's probably like in the sun or something.
Dude, honestly, Uncle Ben is the only one I think that's actually been dead.
Yeah.
They can't bring Uncle Ben back.
Right, right. Yeah, they did kind of bring Gwen back, but I mean, they've had Uncle Ben versions of Uncle Ben, like in these Spider Verses, but like,
Yeah, that's the only really way you can.
but yeah, like we haven't seen a traditional Gwen or
Isn't that how they brought Spider Gwen back or Gwen back?
no, Spider Gwen's from another universe, and she's like a teenager still. So they did like during the Straczynski run with the twins, though they brought back that clone of Gwen. I think she was a clone. It was back with where they had the Goblin twins that said that Norman, the creepy old man, was sleeping with Gwen.
I think it's I just I know I just wanted to talk about Ram V and Donny Cates and say that I think that it's turned now, and I think that people can really see a difference in what a writer is. I'm not saying Donny Cates is a horrible writer. I just saying he hasn't been able to finish properly for me.
He
And
needs a filter. He needs a good editor because I think he's got good ideas. I don't like I said I bought plenty of the stuff. I don't hate him as a person. I just hate what he did to Venom by the end of his run. Um,
but he's done it with everybody. He's done it with
yeah,
Thor.
yeah,
He's done it with um he's doing it now with Hulk.
yeah. Well, it's the editors, Bill. I've got another buddy I've talked to, and he's edited comics, and he's like, a lot of the stuff that goes on. He's like, you've got to have a good editor that keeps these guys in line. Be like, no, you can't do that because of this, or like that's explain that whole mess of like King in Black. Remember, was it when was the Absolute Carnage? Remember when we saw Scorpion die like 6 different ways in different books at different times, it and then Miles got taken over, but then he wasn't. It was a total continuity mess, and it's editing. And then in King of Black they added more titles. Like you couldn't handle the mess of books that was in Absolute Carnage, and they added more. I was like, that falls on the editor. A lot of this stuff and pulling these guys back and keeping them in check. And there's no quality control over at Marvel
Well,
with
I
this.
mean, I would think I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure at all, but I think it'd be interesting to see who the editor is
Devin
for.
Lewis
But
for all the
is that the
he's
same
the
editor that's doing Ram V's stuff on these runs?
I think them all those guys fall underneath Devin Lewis. I mean,
So then I don't blame it on the editor because these are the writer's ideas.
well, this is condensed now. I mean, these series they're not reaching out and touching other issues, but yeah, I know Devin Lewis did Absolute Carnage and King in Black. He had like this. I don't think he did all the Spider-Man. I think the Spider-Man falls underneath its own, but there's like he's only got a handful of titles.
Well, I did want to before we get done here, I did want to give a shout out to I think it's let me just double check. I think it's Jason Aaron. Yeah, I think he's doing the current Punisher run, and I gotta say, it's good. So I think that Jason Aaron's one of those guys we need to keep. He's always, I thought, done decent stuff. Um, and he's just really doing it good with the Punisher, and they're going to be crossing over Daredevil and Punisher soon. I know it's coming. Um, so I can't remember who's running Daredevil right now,
Is
which
it
is DC.
Zdarsky still?
Oh yeah, that might be right. Let me see. So I'm excited for that too, but I'm really enjoying those books. The Carnage and Punisher, and yeah, Chip's still writing Daredevil. So that's coming, that crossover. And I really hope the best. I hope that Ram V can fix Venom. I think we're on the way. It's just a real slow moving thing. And Carnage is keeping me guessing every month, which I really like. And I hope that Donnie can pull it together because right now he's on Hulk. And I think he's still on Thor. And dude, you can't just go to all the big names and shit on him. Because that's what I feel like. It's what's next after that.
I mean, I don't know how if he could handle an Avengers book or if they'd even give it to him, but because I wish I had the sales data pulled up just to see where all the numbers were on their books can you even trust those anymore? The
Well, here's
Comic-Con or that?
the problem thing with this is, bro, is those are always highly ordered books. So, when you're talking Venom, Carnage, Hulk, dude, those are and Batman, of course, is in there. That's all people really order. All these other ones, if it's a good read, I mean, I don't know how many times I said Punisher is really good right now, or Daredevil's going to build, or whatever, and people are starting to buy and go, damn, I wish I was on this from the beginning. They don't know because most of us buy what we like. Like you love Venom, you buy it no matter
Yeah.
what.
So
And I'm
I've been
trying to
buying. I bought I don't remember the last time I read an Amazing Spider-Man. I just buy it out of habit now.
yeah, I always
haven't
get one or two. Yeah,
I haven't read it in like a year. It's been
I think
so
they're
bad.
trying to fix ASM right now too. I just got that in, and there's some stuff coming in the future books here.
I got
Hospital
tired
Key.
watching it. Every issue would be like Spider-Man sitting in a coffee shop drinking coffee. I was like,
He's
that
getting old, man.
25 panels of coffee. Oh no, it's all the all the young hip kids all sit and
Oh
drink.
yeah, they're going that way.
They sip coffee all day.
I like coffee.
I
Well,
like it
anyway.
too. I don't like to read about people drinking coffee though.
Well, anyway, I know this is kind of like I mean, you guys can comment your own comments. I'd really appreciate it. We tried this out. We'll figure out other stuff more.
Wait, what are you watching? What shows?
No, that's gonna have to be a different. We can't do that, right? Dude, everything. I watch everything.
Everything? All right.
I
Just
watch
one
everything
thing.
while I'm working.
One thing that you like?
One show that I like?
Yeah, right now.
Honestly, there really isn't anything that I really love right now. It's just like habit, You gotta just like you gotta buy Venom the next issue. I gotta watch the next show.
All right, I'm watching House of Dragons.
All right, well, I'm watching it too.
All right, it's all right.
That's exactly. See,
Except
that's what I'm saying.
they
You're
killed
watching it
that.
'cause you have to.
They killed that. They killed that
Spoilers,
dude.
no spoilers. People might not see it, Eddie.
They killed. I don't care. It was out 2 days ago or whatever. They should have watched it. And I said they killed that dude.
Oh yeah,
I think it'd be more of a spoiler if someone didn't die in one of those
they
episodes.
did kill that dude. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. But
All right.
we'll try to get some, some little news, something about a key book coming out we like, and maybe some more controversial stuff in our next episode. If you guys liked it, please like and tell us in the comments you like it. Because if this shit isn't watched and you guys didn't like it, I ain't wasting my time trying to get Eddie to do this because it took way too long.
I'm busy, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So busy.
I'm
All
not
right,
as busy as you.
Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate it.
All right.
And we'll see you guys later.
Say it.